Hey friends, it's Ash here, doing another vid. I was watching a Magenta Pixie video. I really like her, and she was talking about something that clicked something into my intuition about the Matrix and just things in general, and that is, well, consent, right? Free will, right? Intent. Those are things that are weapons that the human sovereign human has against the powers that be in the matrix, because you have to consent to the matrix, right? And even governments with laws that they create, you have to consent to those laws for them to be a power have power over you. In other words, you don't have to give a cop who asks you for your ID. If you're not breaking any law and you're just walking down the street, cop comes up, says, hey, I want to see your papers or your ID. If you're not breaking any law and you're just on your way, you don't have to show your ID or even interact with that officer, in fact, unless you're being detained for allegedly a presumption of some crime being committed. So you have to know the law. You have to know there's a difference, right? For something to be legal and something to be lawful. Lawful is under the law of the land, which you're not under. Legal is under the laws that they're imposing on you, that you allow them to impose on you, and therefore they're laws over you. But they don't have to be if you don't consent to those laws, because you're a sovereign human being that those laws don't apply to, in a sense. So that's where we are, you know. And it's the same thing in a sense with the Matrix, because um, for the Matrix to work, you have to consent to it. You have to consent to being it, right? You got to take the blue pill. So if you take the red pill and you wake yourself up somehow by learning certain information, or by your own awakening, your Kundalini awakening is happening, and then you wake up to the fact that there's more to the world than you're seeing. There's more to the world than you know, because you're stuck in an artificial matrix that you consented to. Actually, you didn't, because you were tricked into it, right? So, in other words, once you wake up enough and you realize that it's there, then you can say, make an intent to leave, right? You say, I do not consent, and you leave that matrix. And then when you do that, you free your mind up of the illusion of it and the programming of it, and you're free. And then once you're free of that, you can go inside yourself, do the inner work to ascend. Because in a sense, you were tricked into a matrix where you couldn't ascend out of it, because you were too wrapped up in the physical density, too wrapped up in the egoic pursuits of the world. And it's designed like that. It's designed to keep you in there and keep you stupid, dumbed down, distracted, and all the rest, right? So you never realize your true humanity. You never realize um, your true sovereignty, right? That you can ascend out of the dimension you're in into another dimension with the intent and the training of the mind. So once people start to realize that, then the whole structure, the whole control mechanism that they've set up doesn't work anymore on you. You're free of that, and you're free of the mind control. You know, if you stop watching TV and you stop listening to the music that they put out, it's a whole program. It's not just one thing. It's the music, it's the magazines, it's the the news. It's porn, it's drugs, it's there's all kinds of stuff that they use to keep you in there. It doesn't matter how they can keep you in, whatever way they can rook you into it. If it's alcohol, great. If it's heroin, fine. We don't care, as long as your vibration's low. You're not ascending. You're not realizing your true sovereignty and your your human majesty. Then we don't care what it is, as long as you're low vibrational in the matrix. That's all they care about. And so as people start to leave that matrix, it loses its power. It's the same thing like the movie. It's one of the biggest movies where they're showing you what they're doing to you, of any movie ever created, pretty much, that I can tell, and I've seen a lot. Some movies will give you little peeks of, hey, we're hiding this thing from you just to screw you, right? We got the med bed and we're just hiding it. Here, we'll put it in Elysium so you can see it. We'll show you exactly what we're doing to you in terms of that. And, you'll never figure it out because you're too stupid, you know. Um, we'll show you shit in The Simpsons about 9/11 10 years before, right? Or 5 years before. We'll put 9/11 and 50 different TV things in the background just to show, to predictive program it into your brain. That's the type of insidious shit these people do. So it's a multi-level layered approach. And then on top of that, they throw in the eugenic stuff and some viruses every other 2 or 3 years that are SARS, this, that, right? So you're freaked out, you're scared, you're in a fear matrix based on duality, where everything's inverted. You have no idea it exists, and you're just running around in that maze, just like a Sims game. And then they put out a game like that, and they show you and they show you what they're doing to you, and you play it and you buy it, and they make money off you. And then they commoditize you at birth, and they make money off you like that, off your Social Security account. And then they double the scam with your birth certificate account too. It's a double scam. They're doing bonds on both, not just one, both. And then they throw you into the matrix, and that's where you live your whole life, never knowing what you're really doing, never knowing it exists, and you just run around and you get your job, and for years, man, I never could fit into it. It wouldn't work for me. I don't know why. It's just every time I tried to assimilate more into it, it would push me further away until I realized that it was fake. And the reason it was pushing me away was because I was starting to see it. And the more you see it, the more it'll expel you, until the point it will completely expel you, because you're a danger to it. You're a danger because you might wake up other people to the fact that it exists, so you cannot be in it. And that's what you're seeing right now. With the purge on YouTube, with the purge on Twitter, and those people will probably all come back. Watch, the day after the election's over, or a couple days, maybe a week, you'll start seeing them come back. That's what I think, because otherwise you're gonna get sued, bad, and you still might, and you should, and they should, just for taking people down en masse for no reason, just because they're putting out information that they feel to be the truth that challenges the narrative of the status quo. That's a classic example of censorship, and you can't make it any clearer. And that's why I think Trump is doing this, and he's not just, he could step in and shut down Twitter. He could step in and force these people to do certain things, but he's not doing it because he wants you to see what they're doing. He wants you to see the levels that they're prepared to go to, so you can see it clear as day what they're doing, that they've always been doing that, and you just didn't realize it. And then anybody that was challenging their status quo for years and years, as long as Twitter's been around, has been shadow banned in this way, has been pushed down in the feeds, and they can do it to anyone they want at any time they want. That's too much power. They shouldn't have that kind of power. And they shouldn't have people working for them who are letting their political ideologies seep into their work product. It's just that simple, really. So they're going to close all these down or take their power away. Maybe they'll be broke up. I think Facebook's going to be like MySpace in a few years. No one's going to give a fuck. I got off that shit 2 years ago. The only reason I was on there was I created a page called the Old New York page, which was about, old New York photos, which I really got popular, and it's still on there. I got a guy running it for me. It's called the Old New York page if you want to go check it out. It's got probably 7,000 photos close to now of old New York. So if you're into old New York photos, black and white stuff, mostly from 1800s, not 1800s mostly, some 1900s. But yeah, I got off that because it's just bullshit, and I could see that it was sucking your information out, and it was just a total DARPA project. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing, man. You have the two weapons you have at your disposal really are your intent and your, that's powerful, because when you set your intent on something and you speak it to the universe, that has power. And your consent, right? Intent and consent, because you have to consent to the matrix for it to have power. And it's the same thing with these laws that governments put over people, where you're not representing the law of the land anymore. You're representing a municipality that's put a law in over the people. And there's a difference to that, and people are starting to wake up to the fact that there's a difference, and that we should be under the laws of the land. So with that, I would say that the way to leave the matrix is just set your intent on leaving it, realize it exists, and if you start to speak out in public about it on social media, you will be expelled at some point, or you'll be knocked down in the feeds of others, and then eventually you will be kiboshed. That's what happened to me on Instagram. I got my, account just got completely shut down. No reason given. I'm surprised my YouTube's still there, but I don't have a lot of followers. So right, I got 23 people, so they don't care about me. I can say what I want for now. It's the people that have 500,000 people following them. X22 report had almost 1 million followers, almost 1 million. You get a special award from YouTube for that. So that's a big deal, man. There's news sites don't have near 1 million people following them on social media. So, and I trust X22, and that's why they took him down, because and you could still go to his website. It's x22report.com. Just go look it up. That's where he's posting all his videos now, because he doesn't need to deal with the system anymore. He's got his own website, and what's going to happen is people will just go to wherever the information is. They don't care. It could be Joe Blow's site, Johnny Rotten, whoever, man. It doesn't really matter. As long as you feel that they're telling you the truth and the information checks out, then people will just go somewhere else. It doesn't have to be YouTube. I'm on Brand New Tube. I'm on BitChute. There's 4 others I could go to if I want. So, now the competition's come in. You got Gab, you got Parler, and those are direct competition, and that's a good thing, because eventually if you're going to censor people over and over again just for sharing their opinion, and then you're going to lose people, because people don't want to be censored. They want to hear someone, and if I don't like what someone's saying, I could change the channel. That's the beauty of it, right? I don't have to listen to this guy if I think what he's saying is wrong, or I don't like it, or it bothers me. I can change the channel. I can block that guy so I don't see his posts. Whatever, man. This is just blatant censorship. And if you look, Obama put some orders in right before he left that allowed even more of it. He almost basically set up like a ministry of truth and shit. So it's bullshit, and that's all got to change. The press is going to be dealt with at some point. The mainstream people who have been shown to lie. And the amazing thing is all the slanderous shit that they put up about Trump and other people, and they just left those up. I mean, used to be if an article was disproven or you made a mistake, you had to put a retraction, and the next day you would have to apologize. And now they just leave, libelous shit up that's proven not to be true, and it just stays up. So not sure where that'll all end up, but yeah, New York, weird weather, man. I don't know if they're pushing weather or we've been getting chemtrailed like crazy for the last few days, and it's been like this is the 5th straight day with no sun. It's just this fog that's sitting over us. 5 straight days. I'm not kidding. Every single day, it's like Groundhog Day. 5 days in a row fog. Haven't seen the sun at all, so something's going down. They've been pushing the chem back. I hadn't seen it for a long time, actually. I was taking chemtrail photos like 4, 5, 6 years ago and posting them on my Facebook, and I remember people going, "You're crazy, man. That's been going on forever. That's just airplanes and shit." I'm like, okay. And now all of a sudden everyone knows what it is, and it's like, dude, we were trying to tell people about this shit like 6, 7, 8 years ago, and there was people even before that were trying to. So people are slowly starting to wake up to the shit that's going down, man. Just real quick, I heard some more rumors about some tech stuff. The Celestial Chamber is being worked on, and they're just looking right now for funding with Jared Rand. So if you go search Jared Rand, he does some talks every like week or so, and he gives like updates on what they're trying to do. So they got the Celestial Chamber, which is the age regression technology, and this thing is unbelievable from what he's telling about it, if it's true. So it's a chamber that works with AI tech, also like similar to the MedBed, but it's a different process where you can age regress. And not only that, but there's like a database, he's saying, where you can basically like put in certain physical things that you want. Like you could change your eye color, you could change your hair color, you could change like your facial, like your bone structure, even like, and certain physical like traits, I guess. So you can, it's sort of like Gattaca, like where you're gonna be able to like gene edit out like all the imperfections in your genetic structure. So like in case you have, say, like a family thing with cancer or whatever, it'll just be like edited out of your gene, of your DNA sequence. So basically it's like Gattaca. You'll be able to like in some form like edit out your gene sequence, and then I guess like you want to be blonde or whatever, and then you could be blonde, or you could have green eyes or blue eyes or whatever it is you want. I have green eyes already, so I'm gonna stay with green because that's the rarest eye color. But yeah, I mean, hey man, I guess every guy would like to have like bigger biceps, bigger triceps, whatever. Uh, I don't know. I guess you can make yourself like an NFL football player body if you want, or like a bodybuilder. I guess that takes the fun out of working out, but whatever. So that's going to be something really amazing, and that also has the age regression technology. So, but what's cool about this is apparently like you can choose, so you don't have to go back to 30 years old. Like, so if you're 80 and you want to go back to say 50, you can do that too. You can totally, apparently, you can design whatever it is you want to do in that session. And on top of that, somebody called in and they asked a super interesting question, which was, well, if I go from 80 or I'm 75 and I go in this thing, how am I going to fly back because I'm like 30 years old and my ID is going to show an 80-year-old woman, right? How am I going to get on the plane? And the guy's like, yeah, we're going to have passport services, and what you're going to be able to do there is like get your human sovereignty back. So you'll be getting like a passport, I guess, at some point that's different, that will be like, I don't know, your human sovereign passport as opposed to like the passport under your corporate name, which they, your capitalized name. So like at some point you're not only going to be able to like age regress, and then you will be like basically immortal because um, this will like upgrade your systems as well, like your whole bodily functional system. And so like you won't get sick or age in the same way. And so I guess as you keep doing this process, it will make it so like you regenerate so much to a point where you don't really age the same way. So like you probably won't have to keep doing that much anymore, but like at certain times you may need to like go in for a little like tune up kind of deal, like, and yeah, so you'll basically be able to stay the same age that you want to stay for like as long as you want to stay that alive, you know. So how long do you want to stay alive for? Like 300 years maybe? To do that, and I suggest if you're going to stay alive for like 300 or 400 years that you invest in the stock market, all right? I don't mind waiting 200 years for this stock to take off, right? You could get some nice paydays off of that. So, yeah, it's going to be weird, but we'll see what comes out. Uh, I haven't heard about any other tech. He's been very close to the vest. He just mentioned this celestial chamber like a couple times in passing, and then I started hearing him talk about it more. And it works on the same sort of tech as the medbed, but it's a different kind of chamber. I guess that's for the age regression, and maybe the medbed just basically cures any illness that's in your body. But I think this is for more sicker people who are like very ill, or about like even, I don't know, like I heard that some of this stuff, like if you just passed away like within a day or two, it might be able to like bring you back or something even. So it's crazy. But what they said they're going to do first is when they get the funding, which we don't know, maybe next year some of the funding will hopefully come for it, the blessings. But they're going to go to like nursing homes first where people are like, terminally ill or like even in comas, and like put them in the med bed so they can come back and say, hey, listen, do you want to, go in the med bed more and get healed, or do you just want to pass on? It's up to you, of course, what you want, but we can heal you now. We have this technology that can bring you back to 30 years old. Do you want that? And I'd say most people would say, hell yeah, man, I'm like 3/4 of the way dead, so yeah, I want it. But if they don't, then they'll be allowed to just go back into the coma and pass on, or whatever is going to happen with them, So a lot of interesting stuff coming, and we'll see where it goes. And his name is Jared Rand, so you can look him up. Jaredbrand, and he's the one that's like doing some of the has like is getting people together to fund these beds and the med beds and stuff like that. So check him out and see what you think about him. Hope you guys are doing well with your ascension. The energies are really strong, and I just think it's going to continue to build. We'll see where we go with that. But you got to stay in your center and try to wake up as many people as you can and get them out of the matrix. That's what I think is important right now. The more people you could wake up, the faster we'll go to the new system, and the Nassar will come out. We got to reach like a breaking point of people waking up. So with that, I hope you're well, and talk soon. Peace.